It's the scariest Ross Dellinger report yet. The SEC, ESPN, and the Big Ten have silenced the Big 12 for good. Here's what this means for your team. This is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show your first listen every single day. We will start with ESPN and the SEC working together alongside the Big Ten now to shut the Big 12 out of the college football playoffs future. That is not good. Then Gary Patterson, the TCU legend, as the new defensive coordinator at USC. It's not just possible, they are in reported talks. And I have an inside scoop. And then Jacob Rodriguez, college football's #1 player in 2025, will join the show and talk about his path at Texas Tech through the transfer portal and how he made a #1 defensive player in the country come from a walk-on quarterback. If you hit subscribe, I get to keep my job. Let's go. There it is. Bang. Phew. Ross Dellinger did it. Did it first. SEC wants the college football playoff at 12. The Big Ten wants 24. The SEC said it would maybe move to 16 if the Big Ten would shut up and stop asking about 24. Dellinger has been very good on this reporting. And then the fallout happened yesterday. Now hearing that the SEC and Big Ten, after having very good relations, don't. They had a fallout. From Dellinger, last February, Big Ten and SEC ADs held a joint meeting as a part of a partnership. Of course, those two leagues would partner. 11 months later, the conferences seem further apart than ever. The latest chapter unfolding Sunday in Miami. They remain at odds on the playoffs. Why? The quote he uses is self-interest. Now, the average college football fan, the casual college football fan, is going to see this and say it's a non-issue. You know, like, why would we be worried about this? The problem is, the Axis powers, right? Germany and Russia decided to form a partnership. That is bad. But what's happening now is Germany and Russia are no longer on good terms, and they're at war. Us, the Big 12, the allied powers with the ACC, and that relationship is not a great one between our two conferences. That's not a great one because the Big 12 has leverage, the upper hand, and the commissioner of the ACC is incompetent. We understand and know that. So the Big 12, having the leverage they have not fallen into the trap of siding with the ACC on everything, but at least we're reluctant friends. Friends in that we have to defeat Germany and Russia, the two leagues, the two countries that were friends a year ago and today are not friends. And guess what? They have all the nuclear weapons. They have all the bombs. We had TCU that one time. That was pretty bad. It was like a hydrogen bomb. I think a hydrogen, is that a big one? It's one of the bombs of all time. And in the ACC, they carry Miami, a team in the national championship who will lose tonight to Indiana by a lot of points. But the SEC, the Big Ten, Russia, Germany, they carry the power of college football. And now mom and dad are fighting. And the one thing they're fighting over is something the Big 12 and the ACC are getting zero access to, and it's the college football playoff. They can't agree on it. They can't agree on a number, how many teams should be in. The Big Ten wants 24 teams. Here's the issue. The SEC does not. The SEC says 12's fine. Maybe 16. The Big 12 has been silenced on this. The ACC silenced on this. They go play in the corner while the two big dogs, perceived big dogs, try to figure this whole thing out. Here's the problem. Those two conferences do not stack up to what the Big 12 gives you once you get to team number 5. I'll give it yes. Indiana is better than any team in the Big 12. Oregon is better than any team in the Big 12. The top 3 in the Big 10 we cannot compete with. The SEC, there maybe 2 teams that would be unequivocally better than the top of the Big 12. If that, Ole Miss was the last team surviving this year, and I'm not that scared of Ole Miss. These conferences want you to think they are the best thing since sliced bread. They want you to think they're the kings of college football. So what they do is they silence the Big 12. They say, hey, you're going to follow us. And if you ever try to push back, we will destroy you. We will take your best schools, your best contenders. We'll make them our own. We'll pay them more money. Money's ruined this entire thing. And the Big 12 Conference has zero say now in where the college football playoff's future is headed. And that future is looking clearer and clearer like the Big 10, the SEC, and who cares else. Because those two conferences, those two commissioners, want to do things their way. They want to do things their way because, guess, there's a secret, because it makes them more money. So when Paul Feinbaum gets on ESPN and says, oh, Indiana's a cute story, then winning the championship, it's a cute story no one cares about. We're all watching the NFL now. It's strategic. He didn't say that because he believes it. He said that because deep down he knows that statement is going to get traction. That statement is going to create conflict. It's going to create hate. He did not say that because it's something that he's passionate about. What he's passionate about, same as these two leagues and ESPN, is money. He wants to make money. And we all just do the thing where we fall into the trap and say, oh, yeah, well, one day Luke Skywalker will come along and destroy the big bad Russia and Germany of the world. Boxing them out. Here's what you need to know to go to the water cooler today and say, hey, I'm a genius. Because your friends are saying, okay, I do. Like this Dellinger report, okay? Right now, at the time of recording this, it's got 23 retweets, 62 likes. That's not a ton. People aren't talking about this. It's not a massive story, but it should be. You read the articles, it should be. On 3 posts, the SEC would rather keep the college football playoff at 12 teams rather than expand to 24. Greg Sankey is targeting a 16-team field. Sources tell Brett McMurphy the Big Ten has not moved off the idea of expanding to 24. These two are going to war with each other. What you need to know, the implications for UCF, the implications for Arizona, Arizona State, BYU, Baylor, TCU, Colorado, those implications are that the Big Ten and the SEC want to format this thing on their own without the Big 12's help. And if the Big 12 is shut out of these important conversations, if you're not in the room where it happens, and you're not getting a say in this, it is bad for the future of the Big 12 and the ACC because we are one tick closer. People say it kind of jokingly. Well, if the SEC and the Big 10 want to act this way, why don't they just make their own little super league? Why don't they just do their own thing, their own playoff? Which obviously would kill college football as we know it. And the problem is, as funny as that is, as you know, oh, what a hilarious concept. Those two breaking off, doing their own thing. Ha, it would never happen. It will. It will. They're perfectly fine to do it if they can make money off of it, if they can profit off of this. The reason the SEC does not want more participation in the college football playoff is because they know they would lose. They know that once you get to team 3 in the SEC, you're stacked up with the Big 12. The Big 12's right there. The Big 10 saying, hey, if we go to 24, the Big 10 can control half the field, win the college football playoff every year. We're the number 1 conference in football. And they're right. They're correct. No, there's no pushback from me on that one. What is happening are the two power brokers utilizing the number 1 television network in the country when it comes to college football are stealing college football. And they don't want the Big 12 to play. They don't want the Big 12 involved. And on a scale of 1 to good, that is bad. Happy Monday, everybody. Not great, right? Okay. Not fun, but it's where we sit now that ESPN wants to take over. No, awesome. Basketball was fun this weekend. Did you watch that? That Texas Tech BYU game was crazy. Coming up, Gary Patterson, the new defensive coordinator at USC. Well, early reports say it could be true. I've got an inside scoop. This is Locked On Big 12. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is exactly where I go for tonight's game. Every college football playoff game. FanDuel uses profit boosts, and those profit boosts are waiting for you in the app right now. What I love about it, I use the profit boost on the bets that I feel great about, like riding with Indiana. You can take a shot on the underdog if you feel an upset coming, like Miami. Build a parlay around players like Carson Beck or Fernando Mendoza and get even bigger winnings with those boosts. And when you win, FanDuel pays you instantly. It's the perfect playoff play for college football. FanDuel is the best place to get in on the action all playoff long. Visit FanDuel.com to get your college football playoff profit boosts every game day. FanDuel.com for your college football playoff profit boosts today. Miami and Indiana in the national championship at FanDuel. Per On 3, USC and Gary Patterson have been in communication regarding their opening for defensive coordinator. This is it. This is it. The TCU legend could very well be back. the Hall of Famer in college football, a guy who's been out of the game for 3 years, and all he's done, I've been in his home office, all he's done is just written out notes on every game in the country on these legal pads. He's got 1 million legal pads. Whether it's a thought he had, he'll write it down on a legal pad. X's and O's, Jimmy's and Joe's, legal pad. You are looking at, I don't think, there have been a couple USC fans I've seen tweet out like, oh, why would we do this? He's been out of the game. Are you kidding? I've had the privilege the last 4 months to share a desk with Coach Patterson. Got to enjoy with him and his wife, Kelsey, his celebration to entering the College Football Hall of Fame last week in downtown Fort Worth. And this is the kind of guy that you meet him for the first time and you say, hi, Coach Patterson, how are you today? And he'll say, there's slot corner, RPO. Where's the slot corner play? Where are we looking on an RPO? It's facing the RPO. What coverage are we in? Like that's how his brain's wired. That's how he works. Like, hey, Coach, took my dog on a walk today. He's like, but if they're in cover 4, where's the tight end? Where's the tight end? If we're in cover 4, who's got assignment on their tight end? Like, Coach, I told you I walked my dog this morning. It was a nice day. A football brain, a football mind, a guy who went to TCU when TCU's head coach had been pulled away by Alabama. And a lot of folks doubted that this assistant could come in mid-major ranks at the time and win. He outclassed North Texas, which there was a time where TCU was North Texas. It's just like, yeah, that's that little football team in DFW. TCU outclassed SMU, worked their way into the Big 12, into a power conference, much to the chagrin of a Texas, of an Oklahoma. Worked their way as a program to the forefront of college football to eventually a national championship game with a roster that Gary Patterson helped construct. This is a guy who went to a school where winning did not have to be paramount, where they could have been North Texas. And in spite of that said, not only are we going to win, we're going to win the Rose Bowl. We're going to beat Wisconsin, one of the most dominant teams of the season in the Rose Bowl. TCU in a college football playoff format, they would have made the playoff that year in a 4-team field, a 12-team field, and they probably would have won the national championship. A guy who churned out NFL talent after NFL talent, from LaDainian Tomlinson to Andy Dalton. That guy, that Gary Patterson, could be your defensive coordinator. This is the steal of the year. I was rooting for the opportunity of him to be the head coach in North Texas, somewhere close to Fort Worth. He's got a home in Fort Worth. Beautiful place. And it's the place he calls home. No reason to leave at this point. Guy's 65. He's like, hey, I'm good. I'm having a really fun time with my dogs. Like, I don't need to move somewhere full time, but I'd love to go back and coach. He told me our first couple of weeks working together, I said, Coach, you talk about football like a guy who's still got it. You've got the gleam in your eye. This isn't the process, NIL portal, just tore me up too much. I'm not sure if I could go back. I'm not sure if I still have that spark. This is not that guy. Plenty of coaches are retiring and saying that, and I understand it from their standpoint too. Like I get it. It's changed so much. It's hard to adapt. This is a guy whose X's and O's don't need to adapt. He's the grandfather of the 4-2-5 defense. So I asked him a couple weeks into our show, like, hey, would you go back? Would I go back? Well, the opportunity would have to be right. But of course, these 19 wins away from 200. So, man, he said, I've been off for 3 years, but I've got that. I've got that itch. I've got football inside of me. He also said jokingly that his wife, Kelsey, is ready for him to have a new hobby. After 3 years, the golfing's been fun. The hanging around the house has been fun. Taking a couple years off and taking it easy has been fun. But she said she's ready. She told him, it's his joke, that she's ready for him to get back into football, and he wants to get back into football. The issue for Lincoln Riley in taking a Big 12 legend, TCU legend, arguably the best head coach in the Big 12 the last 15 years, that's probably Gary Patterson. You're going to be hard-pressed to find somebody else at that level of success in the last 15 years. Maybe Mike Gundy, and both of those guys were wrongfully let go. Instead of building infrastructure around these legendary coaches, infrastructure around Hall of Fame coaches, the university said, we don't need you anymore. Guys are like, hey, but we helped build this thing. Like, this is kind of, we did this. Like, yeah, we don't care. Sorry, it's time for the new shiny thing. We want the new thing. We want somebody else's fresh voice. He was subject to that and is still the best head coach of the Big 12 the last 15 years. Gary Patterson, the defensive coordinator for Lincoln Riley, is a dangerous, very dangerous concoction. And I'm surprised there has not been a Big 12 team like a Baylor or a team in Texas like a North Texas that has just called and said, hey, we don't need you to be an analyst. We don't need you to be a consultant. We need you to coach our football team. Baylor could use Gary Patterson. How cool would that be if, the guy, look, he eats, sleeps, breathes TCU. To this day, even though they let him go wrongfully, he is the TCU Horned Frog and is celebrated and worshipped in Fort Worth as he should be. He transformed Fort Worth, not just TCU, but Fort Worth. Their admissions, the GDP, everything ran through Gary Patterson. So yes, it'd be a little funky if he said Baylor, but wants to win. And I, as a Baylor alum, want Baylor to win. I want somebody to win. It's stunning to me that the first school to jump on this would be USC. But Lincoln Riley's very smart in doing that. He's getting an X's and O's guys. He's getting an X's and O's guy who can walk in and say, okay, who do you have for me from the transfer portal? Here's my wish list. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to coach football. He said to me a few times now, there's a difference. Some people meet him for the first time like, oh, he's nice. There's a difference between Coach P, the guy you see on TV screaming and hollering, Coach P, and Gary. Distinct difference. Coach P is loud and has to do what he has to do to win when it comes to coaching his teams. Gary is salt of the earth. Nicest guy in the world. Kind of guy you want to get a PBR with, have a Miller Lite with, a Coors, sit on the back porch, talk about football. He'll pull his guitar out, play a few songs. But he's going to walk into USC. That switch is going to flip. And if this works out, and I hope it does, if this works out, he's going to take that defense and do things that Lincoln Riley has never seen on that side of the ball. Problem, this is tough. We should all be saying a prayer for Gary Patterson if he's coaching at USC next season, not because he can't do it, and he can, and not because he can't succeed, but because they are stacked. The cards are stacked heavily against the Trojans. In their schedule, they will go to Indiana. Ooh. They'll go to Penn State, Matt Campbell, which Gary's coached against Matt Campbell before. They will host Ohio State. They'll host Oregon. And they'll host Washington. That is brutal. When there is a lot of angst for that fan base, they want to win now. They need to win now. Lincoln has the cards stacked against him with his schedule. But if there's a guy, I sat with him at a restaurant 2 weeks ago. I said, Coach, what's their schedule look like next year? Flying all around the country. Like they play at Rutgers next year. I knew. I was like, you're flying all around the country. What's your schedule like? It's got to be brutal flights. He's like, I don't know. Let's look it up. He did the old guy thing. Hey, Siri, what's the USC football schedule? And I was like, hey, the people are listening. Don't do that. There could be sources all around us. Looked it up. He read those out, and he was like, ooh, yeah, let's go. Let's compete. I read that, and I think I'm staying away. I don't know if I can do all that. I don't know if I can do that mess. Gary Patterson, the consummate football coach, the genius, the X's and O's guru, a guy who took TCU to heights that they'd never seen before and is now in the College Football Playoff Hall of Fame. Less than 20 wins short of 300, make it 200 as a head coach in his career. That guy, he's a fierce competitor. He'll take that schedule and he'll win. We've talked a little bit here and there about the opening, and he's a football guy, man. If he's back on the sidelines next season in college football, it is dangerous for anyone and everyone involved against him. If you don't think he can win, you don't know Gary Patterson. You don't know the way that guy coaches defense. He's going to surprise a lot of people at USC next year. I believe in it. I see it coming. Great guy. Would be a great hire for Lincoln Riley. And I've tried to leave it be. I'm not the kind of guy who's like, I have inside information. I'm on the inside, But in the conversations that we have had loosely about it, where I've tried to ask very simple, light questions, you can tell how excited he is. The fire that's still there about college football. And he's handled the process in an incredible way in the midst of hosting a TV show on Amazon and in the midst of trying to figure out what it's like to be a Hall of Famer. The guy is as pro as it gets. As pro as it gets. Speaking of that, Jacob Rodriguez, another pro, joins Locked On Big 12, Amazon Fire TV's college football kickoff. When we come back, this is Locked On Big 12. Hey, today's show is brought to you by TurboTax. TurboTax is exactly what I know. Oh, I know it's January. Like, tax season? Tax season, man. but it doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things to them and go about your day. TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. Handle everything. W-2s, self-employment forms, and you get every deduction. Upload your documents. Go about your day. Get updates right in the TurboTax app. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by TurboTax for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today with TurboTax. He is the best player in all of college football, Jacob Rodriguez. Butkus Award. I mean, he won every award you can win as a defender. Had a spectacular year for Texas Tech as well. He joined College Football Kickoff as our Go Nuts Player of the Year. Joined the show late last week. Have that for you now. What an incredible interview he is. An incredible human being, an incredible football player. Jacob Rodriguez, take it away. It's our Amazon Fire TV College Football Kickoff Go Nuts Player of the Year, Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker from Texas Tech. But before linebacker at Texas Tech, and you've been asked this a lot, but I want to take a bit of a different angle. Quarterback at Virginia. Go back with me to you sitting at UVA deciding, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to Texas Tech. Could you ever have imagined you'd be sitting right here as the Defensive Player of the Year in college football?
Yeah, not ever. Yeah, this was not ever a thought that, I'd switch positions and kind of get in the situation that I'm in to where, great things have happened for, Texas Tech and then, my career. And it's just something
I can remember. Texas Tech has been known for their offense, right? It's always been the Patrick Mahomes, the Michael Crabtrees of the world, and just, the putting up a bunch of points. But this year, it's been really about the defense. Like, what was the main thing that you can see, of course, being the force behind it, of this thing changing over to now defense is the thing that's running the show?
Yeah, it was a big thing for us. And, that's just how you play good football is you got to play good defense. And for you to win games on the road, for you to, win big championship type games, playoff games, you got to be able to play defense. And that's something that we kind of, stuck our neck out and took a lot of guys in the portal early before the season started. And it's just something that mattered to us. And so we always say, we play defense in West Texas. And it's something that, means a lot to us and meant a lot to us this year.
So, Jacob, this is Coach Pete. So I want to go back to the quarterback situation. I don't know how much you know about me, but that's all I did at TCU is change players. So what was the mindset when Coach McGuire, because we had him on the show, and he talked about, look, we don't want to take you as a quarterback, but we'll take you if you come here and play linebacker. We heard the story about, sleeping on your floor and your brothers, all the things that you had to go through to make that happen. Did it really change your mindset, or is it something you already had inside of you anyway? You were kind of that kind of makeup anyhow.
It changed my mindset a little bit about football, growing up and, only ever being a quarterback. And that just is something that, I associated with football and my life as I was a quarterback. But, when I was asked to make the change, I'm a big team guy, and, I'll do whatever it takes for the team to win. And that's kind of how my freshman year at Virginia went, was just kind of doing whatever the team needed. And so then, moving forward, doing whatever, they needed there. And I was happy to fill that role. And it's just crazy to see, how far it's come from there.
Jacob, with all the awards that you've won this year, how do you divvy that up, right? Do you keep some with you? Do you send some back home? Like, where do all the trophies go? Because we're going to send this one to you as well. Where do all the trophies go for Jacob Rodriguez? Who gets a chance to have those displayed at their house?
Yeah, they're going to be at my house. Yeah, they're for sure going to be down in a man cave somewhere hanging out and with a spotlight or something on them.
There you go. You deserve that.
Yes, sir.
A couple Super Bowl trophies next to him.
Nice.
Him and Coach P will be College Football Hall of Famers together in a few years. Jacob, before we get you out of here, we're going to send you they've told me we're going to send you this trophy of just nothing but loose almonds. So I'm not sure. I guess we'll glue them together somehow as our College Football Kickoff Go Nuts Player of the Year from California Almonds. Last thing for you, Indiana, Miami, two very good defenses. Where do you lean in the national championship as far as a team that has the edge?
Yeah, I like Indiana. I think they've looked solid all year, and they play really good defense, and so does Miami. And being at home is going to be a interesting factor, even though they're the away team. And so there's just a lot of good football being played from Indiana, and I'm excited to see kind of how that game unfolds. I'll be excited.
The Texas Tech legend, Jacob Rodriguez, thanks so much for joining College Football Kickoff on Amazon Fire TV.
Thanks, Jacob.
Thanks, Jacob.
Appreciate you guys. Yeah, it's been a blast.
Pretty awesome stuff right there, man. Cool dude. Cool to have him on the show. Grateful to have him on the show. The Go Nuts Player of the Year. Yeah, that's really neat. The Amazon Fire TV College Football Kickoff contract is up for this year, so that is we'll see if it's renewed for next year. The hope certainly is that it is. But what a fun experience to work with Jesse Holley, Coach Gary Patterson, the entire crew over there was fantastic. And having Jacob Rodriguez on this week was the icing on the cake. Total icing on the cake for us. And man, I'm hopeful we have that again next year because those guys were fun to get to know, fun to hang out with every week. And Coach Gary Patterson, hopefully he won't be on Amazon Fire TV's College Football Kickoff next year because he's on the sidelines of a college stadium, sidelines at USC, because he deserves it. He deserves a role like that. He's as good as they get in football, and an honor to know him, no doubt. All right. See you tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow. I see you every day, right? I'm seeing you tomorrow. You and I can get together again. 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. That's right. Eastern time on the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. I'll also be there. We can hang out for 3 hours. Not just this is 30 minutes. We can hang out for 3 hours if you'd like to. I would love to personally. So I'll see you there possibly at that one too, at both of these. This has been It Always Will Be Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.